I got an attitude. I've got you. I've got David. Everybody good to go? I got a clock like there we are. Okay.
An attitude and hesitate to have an attitude today.
You
Whew.
know, I have never, despite all the crap you have to put up with from these people, I have never, I don't ever remember you coming on and having an attitude. I mean, you deal with them, but it's like, I don't know, maybe you have to deal with them so frequently that you've gotten good at dealing with it. I think I would have showed up with an attitude.
Okay. I think I'm ready.
All right.
Um, let's see. Cameras. Okay. How's that? Yep. Ready, rock and roll.
All right. I'll count this down in three, two, one. Hi, I'm Richard Randall, and welcome to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. This is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate, and it does it with Colorado's real estate authority, Barb Schlinker. Barb is a retired Navy veteran. Barb is an author. Barb's also a pilot, and Barb and her team enjoy all that Colorado and the Front Range have to offer. Barb, always great to be talking with you. Now, we air Your Real Estate Voice every Saturday, but if you can't listen to the entire show, it is always available on Barb's site, barbhasthebuyers.com, or just search Barb. You'll find her on most of the popular podcast platforms like iHeartRadio, etc. Barb, what are we going to be talking about today?
Well, Richard, I think this is going to be a fun show because we're talking about some things a lot of people really care about. The first thing is, should I sell my house now or should I wait until 2025? I think there's a lot of people that are like, well, maybe the rates are going to go down and the prices are going to go up. Maybe the values are going to go up if we get a change in the White House. You know, a lot of factors and a lot of uncertainty out there. And it's been an unusual market this year, to say the least. I mean, our available inventory surged this summer, and it has impacted the volume of sales. So we're up in inventory by 31%, and we're down in sales by 10%. So, do you wait? Does the trend continue? It's a mystery. So, we're going to deep dive into that. And then the next topic is going to be the top reasons why a property does not sell and what you can do to fix it. And then we're going to go into cash offers. So, a lot of people have questions about cash offers. There's a lot of mystery out there about whether it's good or bad or otherwise. For some people, it's very good. And sometimes these offers are pretty close to market value. So we'll talk about the pros and cons of accepting a cash offer on your house. And I don't know if you know, Richard, but in general, less than 10% of sales are with cash in from a live in the home buyer. But we're seeing a big trend, an increase in the number of people that are taking cash offers from investors because they don't want to deal with the whole, people coming through their house and the uncertainty of it not closing and all that. Did you know that?
I had no idea whatsoever, Barb.
Yeah. And then the very last thing is how to choose the best real estate agent. And as always, I love talking about my hot new listings.
You do indeed. So, Barb, as fewer people bought homes in recent years due to the high prices and high interest rates, how do home sellers figure out whether to sell their homes now or wait until next year?
Well, Richard, I think everybody worries about timing the market right. And some people get lucky with that and some people just don't. And you can't worry about it. Moving is a major endeavor. And it's quite a project. Moving just by itself is hard. Selling your house can be hard. Not every home sells. That's why over 53% of home sellers in this market are lowering their price after they put it on the market because they're looking back at recent historic sales and it's not working. So it really depends, though. The answer to the question is you have to make it work for you. and make the timing work for you. I've got people that are planning to retire at the end of the year, or they're planning to sell next spring. That's okay if you want to do that. And if they reach out to us, one of the services that we offer is we will offer a free, no obligation exterior photo shoot while their yard is green and the flowers are blooming. So it looks pretty if they do put it on the market in the winter months when all the yards and everything goes dormant. But at the end of the day, this is still a pretty strong market in the country. However, the inventory has really exploded. I mean, we went from 2,000 homes on the market this time last year to over 3,000 right now. And yet the number of sales is less. So you know, or you think that it's going to have an impact on prices. But right now, the average price is higher. So it's odd, but it could happen. I would say just because this surge in inventory happened 3 months ago, my gut feel is it's slowly going to change the market, and we're going to see people lowering their prices and buyers getting better deals. And buyers are just, sitting on their thumbs, waiting for the prices to come down and waiting for the interest rates to come down. But nobody knows for sure if that's really going to happen. And this chart I'm showing you right now is you look at last year, July of 2023, 2,200 homes on the market, and July of 2024, 3,272 homes on the market. Big, big surge. And we haven't seen that in probably, I don't know, 10 years, it's been a long time. So the faster the housing supply increases, the more likely it is that it's going to have a negative impact on prices. So if you are thinking of selling soon, I wouldn't wait. And there's a way we can teach you how to position the home so your home is the best deal on the market and the buyers jump in there and make their best offer. But I do anticipate that barring any other changes, we could see prices drop going into the fall. And buyers are going to love it because they've been waiting for homes in the area to be more affordable as the strength of the seller's market declines. I'm showing you a screenshot right now of the number of homes just in the past week that have lowered their price. It's the biggest number of the market indications that they're tracking, and it's quite a bit. Out of the 3,000 homes on the market, 515 have lowered their price in just 1 week. So that would tell you that we're seeing kind of a correction go on. So if you're planning to sell soon, I wouldn't wait. If you're planning to sell in the future, call us anyway. We'll give you a really good idea what your home will sell for, how much you'll put in your pocket when it sells, what to do and what not to do to get your house ready for sale. And then when it's time to sell, we'll have to look at the market conditions at that time. But are buyers stopping to buy? No, there's just fewer of them that can afford homes, right? And that's the problem. The interest rates have corrected a little bit, only maybe 0.5% in the past month. And what we're hearing is allegedly next month the Fed's going to lower the interest rates. But is that going to be for mortgage interest rates or not? We don't know. Is it going to impact the mortgage market? We don't know. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But I think everybody will welcome seeing interest rates drop into the fives. I think that would actually really surge the market, both for buyers and sellers. So as interest rates are on the high side, we're seeing pretty much all up and down the Front Range, not just in the Pikes Peak region, but even in the Denver market, a lot of sellers are lowering their price. And, the number of sales at the same time is down by almost 10%. I think the number, according to the Pikes Peak MLS, was 9.7 fewer sales than we had a year ago when the number of available homes was 31% less. So it's going to happen. It's going to have an impact on price. But in any market, there is a strategy to get top dollar for your home. And that's part of what we do for our clients. And it's absolutely critical that you get all four, what I call 4 Ps, as in Papa, correct. Preparing your home for sale, picking the right agent, pricing the home right and making sure it's promoted so that you don't get buyers rejecting the home on their cell phone. And if you'd like to find out how to do that, you can go to my website, barbhasthebuyers.com. Click on the green button. From there, you can download any one of our free reports, no cost or obligation. One of the ones we're featuring today is the top 7 tips to get your house ready for sale for top dollar. Or you could call our office at 719-301-3900. I am still selling homes with bidding wars if you price it right. I just sold a home in Briargate for $55,000 over asking price. I just sold a home in Peregrine for full asking price at the $950 price point. And I sold a home downtown for $14,000 over asking price. So it can be done, but condition definitely plays a big part in getting top dollar for the home. Now, not everybody has the resources, the time, or the will actually to get a house ready for sale. Some people just want to sell it as is. And you know what? We have an answer for them too. But in general, if you're pricing the home to compete with other full market value homes on the market, you have to have all the deferred maintenance taken care of. I just met with a gentleman yesterday that overall the home was in good condition, but the carpet was 5 years old, and you could see that it was 5 years old. And you know what? Buyers are, even though it wasn't really heavily stained, you could see some traffic areas, buyers are just going to turn their nose up at that because flooring in particular, they want to, in my opinion, buyers want to move in, drop their stuff, and get on with their lives. They will forgive things like landscaping problems or I don't know if the carpet is, I mean, the kitchen isn't fully remodeled. I think those are forgiven in some cases, but flooring is a really, really big deal. And buyers basically want it all. They want views, they want it updated, unless the home is priced very realistically. I'm going to stop for a second, guys. I got to kill the noisemaker. Did you hear that, DJ?
Yeah, but it wasn't distracting or anything.
Okay.
And I had one earlier, about 3 or 4 minutes ago. I always think I have shut down my phone, but
It was 7 minutes ago.
7 minutes ago. I'm just saying that I'm guilty too. So
Okay. I just had to kill that noise and I got lost at the same time. All right, I'm going to restart the clock. I already killed that subject. Okay, I'll just do the reset. We'll go into the last segment and maybe spend about 2 minutes on it and then move on. Ready?
Perfect.
right.
So you're listening to Your Real Estate Voice. My name is Barb Schlinker with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Barb has the buyer's team. And we're talking about whether or not home sellers should sell their home now or wait until 2025. And next up, what we're going to be covering is what you can do now to get your home ready, even if you plan to sell next year. And if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call. We have over 27,797 buyers just on our little website, plus cash buyers. And typically we can find a buyer for your home many times. Richard?
Barb, we're discussing whether or not home sellers should sell their homes now or wait until 2025. If they do plan to wait, what are some of the things that they should be doing right now to get their home ready for sale?
Well, getting ready is something that takes time and takes steps. So I would say the very first and the easiest thing that you can do to get your home ready for sale is basically take it one room at a time or take it one area at a time. As an example, the key rooms that buyers care about when they're looking at homes, in particular online, are curb appeal. So make sure you get curb appeal right, followed by the backyard views. This is a great time to clean up, trim up, get your yard ready to go for next year. Or if it does look good now, let us take pictures of it while it's green and gorgeous. Followed by the living room. So many people live in a home a different way the way they would present it to the market. So, and I find in the clients I'm helping is that a lot of times they want to get rid of stuff, or they're planning to move, or they're downsizing, and they don't want to take everything with them. But they don't know what to keep and what not to keep to present it well for sale. And so that's part of our services is we offer a free in-home consultation along with the staging consult to come and check it out and give you a really good checklist on what rooms to clear out, what rooms to leave the pieces there, and we can make it look great. Different things add value automatically, like updated homes typically add value, great views add value, added acreage, added garage spaces, those typically do add value. But it's the whole package, right? And you have to position the home to compete with other homes for sale at that same time. So I would work on those key rooms like curb appeal, light fixtures, plumbing fixtures, flooring, fix the broken doorbell, just little stuff like that. But at the end of the day, pricing is key. If you don't price it right, it doesn't matter how pretty the house is, it's going to sit on the market. So we can help you do that when the time is right. All you need to do is give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
Listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. She's the host of the program, and you can listen to replays of the show anytime on all of the major podcast platforms and her YouTube channel as well. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll be talking about the top reasons why a property does not sell and what you can do to fix that. Stay tuned.
Okay, went long.
You are so good. I mean, I thought we were like so far over, and next thing I know, you're in the window, and I'm like, how did she do that? How could you do
I
that?
cut some stuff out.
You
So
would, I mean, there's no way you would know that. I'm just saying.
thank you.
It
Yeah,
just
I know.
flows from one thing
I
to
did.
the other.
Then my computer made some more noise. I'm like, oh, the calendar thing. So I shut that down.
I didn't even hear that. Yeah, he doesn't miss much.
All right, I think I got them all off.
How is your son?
He's good. He's getting settled. He's just started his new job out there in Yorktown, Virginia. So he went out there all by himself. He
That
didn't
is
want us to come and help him. He wanted to do it on his own. I'm like, okay.
I mean, it's exciting, but boy, there's so many changes in life for young people right after another, after another, after another.
Yeah, and I'm trying to send him stuff. Like I bought him a Byrna gun. Do you know what that is?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I'm wondering about those.
Yeah, and he's like, he just doesn't want. He's got a real gun. He thinks that's better, but
I don't know. Here's what I know is both of my kids own guns. My son used to have an AR. My daughter used to have an AR. They wanted me to sell those, so I did. But they both have 380 autos, and then my son has a 9mm. But every time I'm like, well, you should probably have this in your apartment. And no, it's okay here, Dad. And so while they own the firearms, they don't have them in the car. They don't have them in their apartment. It's just as well that they don't even have them. So that Byrna thing, I've been thinking that maybe I could get them interested in that. And I know it's not a gun, but it's better than nothing, right?
yeah, it shoots tear gas type pellets,
Yeah.
pepper spray kind of thing. But it has a kinetic function to it. So it kind of, knocks them back, and then they get their face full of tear gas.
Yeah. I
And they're
mean,
disabled for about a half an hour. Oh boy, that's enough to get away
right?
from cops.
Yeah. Okay, I have a new script. And I look like I'm ready to go, Barb.
Yep, I'm ready.
Count us down in 3, two, one. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker. She's the host of the program, and this is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate. It does it with Barb Schlinker, the owner, broker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, with higher rates and fewer buyers that can afford a home, I would think that there's quite a few home sellers who have homes that are not selling right now. What are some of the reasons they are not selling, and what can people do about it?
Well, Richard, it's a simple supply and demand equation. And also affordability is a factor because when the rates more than doubled in 2022, and now they're holding pretty close to that number, they came down about a point from the initial surge and they've gone up to 8 last fall. Now, most of the spring they were at 7.5, and now it's down to 6.5. It's still an affordability problem for the buyers. They're still having to ask sometimes the sellers to pay their loan closing cost so that they could buy down their interest rate to make the payment more affordable. So pending sales right now are actually down by almost 10%, while the inventory is going up by over 30%. So why is that happening? Because buyers aren't consuming the available homes on the market because they can't afford them. And so the result is going to be, we're going to see probably a little bit of correction in prices, although the historic stats don't show that yet. What we're seeing is the pending sales are starting to slip. And that's kind of a leading indicator of what's going to happen in the future. And I think the sales are going to remain down really until we see the rates come down some more or the price is correct. We're seeing pretty much all over the Pikes Peak region that more than half of the home sellers are lowering their price. Why are they doing that? Because when they initially met with their agent and they priced their home, they look back on what has sold in the last few months, and I would say almost every seller I speak with wants the most money. I get that. But there's a way to get the most money. It's not necessarily by pricing it high. It actually works against you to price it high. And a lot of people don't understand. They'll say, well, why don't they just make an offer? Well, because they don't envision that you're going to negotiate with them, because we just came off of a red hot market, so that they won't even go see it if it's not in their price range. It just won't make their radar. So as we see the home sellers looking back at homes just a few months ago that might be similar to their home, and they priced it that way, it's not working. Let me tell you a story. I've done this a couple of times where they'll say, hey, what do I do? It's not selling. It's not getting showings. I'm like, well, if you're not getting any showings, you need to make a 3 to 5% minimum correction. You can't do just 5,000. That doesn't cut it, right? You need to do at least 3 to 5% to get attention, especially if it's been sitting on the market kind of tired, nobody's really noticing it anymore. You get the most buyer activity within the first 10 to 30 days on the market. So once it goes beyond that, it kind of falls down, just like dropping down below on Craigslist or my email. So basically, there's been a massive collapse in buyer demand, even though the buyers would love to buy a house just because they can't afford it because the payments are too high. So if you do get lucky enough to get an offer, work with them. One of the things an old asset manager taught me about negotiating and working with buyers is, and an asset manager, just so you know, back during the meltdown, there were a whole bunch of foreclosed homes. And one of the contracts that I still have, and I've had the privilege of handling, is homes that were taken back by the VA in foreclosure. Now, as a veteran, it totally breaks my heart that any veteran has to lose a house. But sometimes it happens just because either they had issues in their life or they passed away, or sometimes what happened, like during the boom of going all the way to the middle of 22, if they bought a home during that time between mid 2020 and 2022, they paid top dollar, and the prices aren't up there now. That's why everybody's property taxes are supposed to be 18 to 24 months behind the current market. So that's based on its value in June of 2022, which was right before the Fed took 6 months and more than doubled the interest rates. And that it basically created all kinds of demand destruction. It killed the real estate boom and the market values, and the prices overall peaked at that time. So if a veteran paid 100% financing on these homes, they're not worth that much now, unfortunately. And they don't have enough equity to be able to sell it and not have to bring money to the table. So it saddens me that some veterans are having to lose a home if they have to move really soon, or they choose not to rent it and they just let it go. But what these people do, these asset managers, they manage hundreds of properties for one seller. One of them is the Secretary of Veterans Affairs. The other one would be like Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, HUD. All those people, all those organizations have asset managers, and they are selling homes all the time. They know exactly how to sell homes. That's why every foreclosed home sells. And one of the things that an asset manager said to me, which I thought was really cute, she goes, "Don't let the buyer get away." So we were kind of negotiating and they weren't sure. And we went back to the buyer and we made it happen. So I think that's the world right now. Yes, you might be expecting to get a price of similar sales that happened a few months ago, but it's just not working. So if you do catch a buyer, like catching a worm, work with them and try to make it happen for them if that is your only choice. If you have multiple offers, well, that's wonderful. You have multiple offers and you have a lot of choices. But really, to get multiple offers, all of the stars have to align perfectly. You have to be priced right. Your home has to be prepared for market, and it has to be promoted right in order to be in that situation. So one of the things that we're finding right now, if more than half the home sellers are lowering their price, is whatever they're doing is not working. And the biggest mistake you can do is price it too high and very slowly walk the price down. That is the way you net the least amount of money. That's not the way to do it. And I've seen, with homes not selling, a lot of people ask me to come fix their problems. Like, okay, my house is not selling. They might decide not to work with that agent anymore. Then they have me come over. It could be one of three things. It could be marketing, it could be pricing, or it could be both. And I've seen marketing problems where the photos were just awful. I've seen pricing problems where they're priced really high and slowly walk the price down, and yet didn't do anything about it during the course of that home sitting on the market getting stale, or they have both of those problems. So we're going to talk about what you can do about it here in the next little section. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. And we're talking about the reasons why a house is not selling. And when we come back, we're going to talk about some things that you can do to get it to sell. And if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call at 719-301-3900. We have over 27,000, almost 28,000 buyers in waiting just on our little website. Plus, we have almost 70 high net worth cash buyers that might make a really good offer on your home, and we can get this done right away. Typically, I can find 700 buyers that are a high match for your home, and I will bring them to you when we meet. So call us at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
Barb, we're discussing the why a house may not be selling. We know that rising interest rates mean fewer buyers can afford the higher payments, but what are some of the other reasons why a house may not be selling right now?
Well, you have to constantly look at the competition and constantly look at what is selling. And that's part of what we do in our business, because I don't think, I would say overall, home sellers are paying attention because they're thinking, I'm going to put the house on the market and it's definitely going to sell. And if it doesn't, they're kind of shocked. But what we're seeing as far as the pending sales, they're 10% down as compared to a year ago, and we have 31% more available homes. So you know what's going to happen. That's a leading indicator. It means the prices are going to come down. Mortgage applications have dropped. And there are a lot of people that have some good equity, but as you have to deal with the market that you're in right now. So if you're in a market that is slightly declining, and that's really what I'm feeling right now, even though the numbers may not completely shake that out, some of them are indicating the prices are declining. Yet if you look at Pikes Peak numbers, it says, oh, the average price went up. And I'm like, I don't know, more than half the sellers are lowering their price. So I don't know where you're getting that average number from, or even if it means anything. But at the end of the day, if more than half the sellers are lowering their price, most logical agents are going to tell them to price it according to similar sales. I recently had one where we priced exactly to similar sales. We had a light turnout initially. We had just a few showings. The seller said, hey, what do? I want to get it sold. I said, if you're not getting showings, you're off by 3 to 5%. And we made that change immediately. And immediately we got multiple offers. It sold for the new full asking price or very close to it. And the weirdest thing is the appraiser came back and said it was worth the original price where we were priced at. But we couldn't get a buyer to raise their hand before that with all the marketing that we do. So that tells me the market's going to be moving just a bit. And what else I think you can do is just make sure that your home is properly presented to the market and properly priced. Don't wait to change your price. The market's going to tell you immediately if you missed it. A lot of people will look at their assessed value, what the tax man is basing their home values, and that is not reality. They don't come look at the house. They don't know its condition. Even if it's in good condition, it's what the buyers are willing to pay is what its current market value is now. So if you're not getting showings, then you're not priced right. It's just that simple. Or you have a marketing problem. And you can tell that by just have somebody close in your family or friend look at your pictures and go, what do you think? Would you be motivated to come look at my house? Be honest. And they will, most of the time, friends and family are going to tell you, they'll be brutally honest about what they're seeing or what they're not seeing. The whole idea behind marketing is just to get them there, and then the house has to make the impression at that point. So if it's not a marketing problem, it's got to be price. And buyers right now are looking for the best deal. So it's all about price, and it's all about being the best home in your $50,000 increment in that area. And there's a way to tell. Recently, I met with a seller. And somebody else had told them, oh, there's not much inventory in this price range. And oh, your home is worth all this money. So I just pulled out the MLS and said, look at this. There were dozens and dozens of available homes, very similar size within 2 miles of this home. And some were bigger and some were smaller. But at the end of the day, there was a lot of available homes to choose from. So that was just not true. And I think that there are some agents that don't pay attention to what's going on in the market. Things could change fairly quickly, especially things like inventory and what's selling and what's not. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call at 719-301-3900. We are home value experts. We do this at least 5 to 10 times for home sellers every single week. And we're looking hard at what the home is worth and what the seller can get. And we're fairly accurate. We have a really good track record. So give us a chance at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
Barb, we're talking about houses not selling. So what are some other things that a seller can do to get their home sold?
Well, just real quickly, take a critical look at pictures, take a look at the competition, take a look at the condition. No, they're not going to accept a carpet allowance. You have to make the carpet look good. Look at the feedback. The feedback's going to tell you what the consumers thought, and look at pricing. Those are the biggest things. And don't be afraid to get a second opinion. And you can do that by calling us at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, host of the program and the proprietor, owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. If you're thinking of making a move, call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. A short break. When we come back, we'll be talking about what are the pros and cons of a cash offer on a house. You don't want to miss that.
I got lost in that one for some reason.
I mean, yes, I guess, because I'm looking at the scripts, but the truth is that you always find a way to get it back on track and in under budget, I guess, time budget or whatever you'd like to call it.
Thank you.
Which I got to tell you, I have a huge problem doing that because as excuse me, one of my listeners called me a long talker, Richard Long Talker Randall. And I'm like, I can't argue with that. I mean, in fact, I actually took,
Rude.
no, and I kind of took a little bit of pride in having such a, well, yeah, I was like, I'm kind of a Native American sounding person who does talk a lot. Damn it. Is there any change in the last year? Because
I mean, I feel like, at least this is my experience with the millennial generation. Most of them are kind of quiet and they sort of like just pay attention. You know, they like listening. Um, they like watching all the drama, but they don't want to be involved.
I would say that's absolutely true.
But they want education. And so
Well,
I think they admire the talkers. So don't be ashamed of that. You know, it's a good thing.
well, and what they're saying is that, and I think it's true, that some of the younger generations, I mean, they seem so young to me, but the truth is they're getting right to that point in life where they're either getting out of college or they're in the military or they're going to go to graduate school. But one way or another, they're starting to have relationships and they're starting to look at, okay, I've been renting for a while and now maybe I'm thinking about a home. And I think it's easy to consider them to be so different from us. And usually, I think, Barb, it's not that they're different from us, they're just at an earlier place in time. And if we're to go back to Richard at that place in time, I don't know that I would have been all that different from them. So I take,
You know, you're just at that age, at least what I recall for me, just, you know, slogging through life and going to work and
yep.
trying to have fun. But they do, you know, when I bought my first house, I had no idea. I called my dad because he had a real estate license, you know, but I just went shopping. And nobody educated me except for my dad on what I was supposed to do. Like one of the things they tried to get me to do, this is in California, was to close on the house like a month before the house was ready. It wasn't even, it was like not ready.
Wow.
I called my dad and said, "Is that normal?" He goes, "No." He goes, "Hey, gotta finish that house." So, okay.
Well, I think that's valuable because it's not just valuable for that particular transaction, but for a young person, it's a good warning that, you know what, people are going to try to take advantage of you in a lot of circumstances, and they're going to try to cash in on the fact that maybe you don't know everything about this. The other thing that you mentioned, I'm going to start thinking about that on my show. When we were in college, my friends and I, we were not in a big hurry to get out into the public realm and start, being serious and, taking responsibility. We tried to shy away from that as much as we can. And now I'm thinking about my kids because the one thing that they hate is conflict.
Oh,
And
that's true of that generation for some reason.
yeah, I mean, I don't like it either, but all right, let's see.
I
I've got
thrive on
yeah, you must because you've got so much. I think it would just drive me crazy. You have a way of dealing with it and dealing with it effectively. Um, it's actually, I think, part of the reason I quit being a trial attorney is, first of all, it was tedious. That was the main reason. But then there was conflict, and I didn't mind conflict if it was for a good reason. What I really hated was to have to go through all this drama and conflict when there was really no reason for it. And, you know, something,
legal stuff is very emotional. I went through it. I got my share of it. I don't ever want to go through it again.
yeah. I was, a quick story. So last week, somebody called me up and said there are a bunch of protesters down at the Olympic office downtown. They got anti-gay signs. Do you have HIV yet? And all this kind of stuff. So I drove down there. I was expecting it to be Westboro Baptist, and it wasn't. It was about 8 people from some other church. And, I asked them what they're doing. And so they were protesting about women in the Olympics having to face men in boxing. And then they were protesting about the opening ceremonies. And I told them, I said, well, you guys understand that by and large, the majority of people out there that I talk with agree with you 100%. I don't know that there's even much, conflict about that. And I'll be darned, instead of them saying, I didn't know that, then they still wanted to argue. I had no argument with them, but he was hell bent on having an argument. So as I'm walking away, did you pray this morning? I should have just said, well, you know what? That's really not your business. But I had prayed. I pray every morning. So I said, yes. What Bible verse did you pray on? And I said, you know what? I don't do that. I just open the
Oh.
Bible if I use it, which I don't all the time. I just randomly open it, and I think God's going to direct me to the page that I need to see. And the guy just needed to
In the
find
future, all you have to say is that the Bible says to pray without ceasing. So if I stop to read the verse,
There you go.
aren't I wasting time?
Oh my gosh. I mean, it was kind of sad because this guy was just hell bent on having an argument, but it was with somebody who agreed with him. I mean, damn. I came up here and wanted an argument. Damn it, give me one. There's a focus issue here.
There is. I don't know what to do about it. It just suddenly happened. Let me see. Stupid gadget. I just got up and sat down.
I have that on my phone a lot of times where, it'll kick into a different mode, even though I haven't changed the mode, and it's cropping this out, or, the focus goes bad or whatever. And I just have to keep my solution is I just keep messing around with it. Eventually I find something.
Yeah, it's only the part that the
Which-
webcam's using.
What's that?
It's only the part that the webcam's using
Yeah.
that is out of focus there.
I think DJ makes a good point, and that is of what we're looking at, the graphic part on the left is totally in focus. So it's only apparently the camera. You know what? I'm not going to put any pressure on you. I'm going to step out for a second.
I don't know if I'm using the right camera though. Oh, sharpness one.
You might unplug it and plug it back in. If it's a USB camera, you can.
That's a good idea. Brilliant. Nope. I don't even know if I'm using it. Man. I wonder if this has something to do with configure video. Resolution.
There it goes.
That's weird. Okay.
Looks good on our end, although you're getting that other chair now.
Oh God, you should see this contraption I have here. don't really need this.
Now we're getting a weird glare off the TV. I mean, the monitor.
It's better.
Yeah, she's just got to get it tilted
Yeah.
back up.
I have never used, I have a camera on this laptop. I've never used that. I bought an external one, which I used, just trying to figure out how to.
There's an external one right there
Yeah.
that we never use. And the main reason for that is because it has a default built into it where it takes over and uses the microphone within it. And that can mess up all kinds of stuff, especially for recordings.
Wow. Well, you know what I'll do then? I mean, do something along those lines. I'll go ahead and use my own camera.
Okay.
And I think I'm gonna start doing this pretty quick. I mean, we're a couple of months out, 3 months out from this election. It seemed like it was so far off, and now it doesn't seem so far off at all.
All right. I don't know what I did, but we got it.
Whatever
great
it is,
now.
take care of it. Yeah. All right. I'll count us down in, I got a clock here. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate, with the host of the program, Barb Schlinker, owner and proprietor of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, the market has certainly changed in the last year, causing some people to wonder if their home will sell quickly and at a good price. Many home sellers want to bet on the sure thing, a cash buyer versus a buyer getting a loan. Do home sellers get less money when they're selling to a cash buyer versus a traditional buyer?
Well, not necessarily, actually. I think that, in general, people don't sell homes very often, and everybody has different motivations. If they're not in a big hurry, then it's okay to put it on the market and test the market and see what we can get. But people reach a point where like they're just done with this, especially if it's not selling. And so there is this perception out there that if you sell your home to a cash buyer, you're going to leave some money on the table. And that's not necessarily true. Sometimes our fee structure is a little bit higher than a traditional real estate sale. But, here coming in a few weeks, I'm heard that our local MLS is going to turn off the commission to the buyer's agent probably on sometime. It's not going to be the 17th. I believe it's going to be a couple of days after that. But anyway, it doesn't matter. When they do that, then the buyer's agent is going to have to negotiate for their own fee, right? So I would tell sellers, plan on building that in. They're gonna ask for something. You just got to figure out what something you want to pay, and then the buyer's agent can maybe negotiate for the balance to be paid by that buyer. And it's interesting. I was just talking to a home seller that's not originally from this country. And where he came from, he goes, yeah, the buyer pays their agent fee and the seller pays their agent fee. But that's not been the case in the US for years and years and years. It's been all the seller paying all of those fees. So that's going to change our world just a little bit. And it could affect sales. Like there could be some buyers that sign a commitment that the agent convinces them, oh, don't worry, the seller's going to pay my fee. And then what happens if they don't? Do they have to pivot to another house? I don't know. But if they sign an agreement that the seller's going to pay and then the seller doesn't pay, it's going to be really interesting. I'm pretty excited about this change. But when you sell to a cash buyer, now let me define that. There are investor cash buyers, or there's live in the home cash buyers. There are people that have enough cash to pay cash for houses. And those are great if you can get them, but it does represent less than 10% of the sales out there. And the good part of accepting a cash offer versus somebody that's getting financing is basically you don't have to worry about the buyer getting their loan approved. Sometimes that could derail a transaction. You don't have to worry about a third-party opinion of value, which is an appraisal. So if the sales price doesn't match the appraisal, then they could end up in the middle of the transaction walking back the price or walking away from the deal altogether, which would be horrible. It's no fun. It occasionally happens. But there are some cash buyers, and these are usually big real estate investment trusts. These are people with lots of money. And in general, their intention is not to buy and hold it or buy and rent it out. Their intention is to flip it. So they probably will come in a little bit below current market value, and they might charge a little bit more fee. But I can tell you the most comforting thing for many, many home sellers is to know for sure when they sign the contract that they're going to go to the finish line. And sometimes and most of the time, you don't get that with a traditional sale. A traditional sale, once you go under contract, woohoo, that's great. You have a contract. Most sellers are packing, getting ready to move, and they're thinking it's a done deal. But then, oh, they do an inspection and they ask for stuff that could blow up the deal. Oh, they have an appraisal and they ask for stuff that could blow up the deal. Oh, what if their loan doesn't get approved? What if this? What if that? I actually had a few weeks ago, I had a buyer that walked away from the closing table 2 days before closing. Now the seller had already moved out of her house, right? But fortunately, we had a bidding war on that house. We were able to pivot to all the other buyers, and we ended up selling it right away for more money, and it only delayed it about a week or two. However, nobody wants that to happen, right? And so people really love what I call certainty, right? And that's part of what a cash buyer can get you. It may or may not be full market value. And we're actually the only firm in town that shows up with multiple cash offers, and we could get you some more. So we can even negotiate with those buyers. So that's one of our uniques, and we love to bring it to our home sellers. Whether they plan to take a cash buyer or not, it doesn't matter. The whole idea is to give them options, because if a seller has a lot of options and choices, then the chances of them getting the most money or getting their goals is either to sell now or sell later are much higher. And in general, the home sale process is a rather large project. It's not like going to CarMax and selling a home. It's not the same thing. It's gotten pretty complicated. The contract to buy and sell contracts that the state gives you now is over 21 pages long. And there are two provisions in the contract that allows the buyer, no matter if they close or not, to get their earnest money back even if they walk away at the finish line. Did you know that, Richard?
I had no idea about that. I mean, that's why it is so valuable talking to somebody who's got the experience like you do. I would have never guessed that.
Yeah, I have to explain this to my clients all the time. I'm like, well, it says here that if they don't object over their loan, the earnest money is non-refundable. But then there's another paragraph that says if the buyer and seller break up, and they don't reach agreement in writing about what happens to the earnest money, and there's no decision with the court, which it takes a district court judge to order the release of the earnest money. At least that was my experience. After 120 days, they just give the deposit back to the buyer, regardless of what happened or how far you are in the process. So imagine you're a home seller. You've moved out of your home for this buyer, and they walk away at the last minute. I mean, it's the worst. Now, I have tips and tricks for my clients to protect them against those issues that the state has set up. They made it a very buyer-friendly state. So that's part of why a cash offer, it's one of the benefits of a cash offer, because you kind of know it's going to happen. They just send their money and you close, and it's a good thing. So the typical steps to sell a home: typically you meet with a realtor, you figure out, what your home is worth. You kind of get a plan as far as when you're going to go on the market. What do you need to go on the market? And for a lot of people, it's a massive, overwhelming project. That's why you have to kind of take it one bite at a time to make it happen. And we help people do that all the time. Some people I've met with, they say, hey, well, I'm selling in 3 years. And I'm like, that's fine. Let us take pictures while your grass is green, and then we'll reconvene when you're ready. It's okay. It's whenever it works for you is fine. But if you do have us come out, we're going to ask you a couple of questions like, what have you done to improve the home? What do you think it's worth? And we ask some other questions about the house so we can give them a really accurate opinion of what their home would sell for in comparison with other homes that are selling and other current listings that are on the market right now. And we do what's called an in-home consultation, and we give our home sellers tips on what to do and what not to do to get their house ready for sale. I mean, some people make these assumptions that certain improvements are going to get them all this money, and it doesn't translate. I hate to say this. I know a lot of people are probably going to say something about this on YouTube, but I don't believe a solar system adds value. I hate to say this because I know people invest a lot of money in those systems. It reduces their electric bill. Okay, fine. Typically, they cost between $35,000 and $50,000. So if you take your electric bill and you divide it by, say, 25 years or however long it takes you to divide your electric bill by that cost, at the end of 25 years, the product is going to be outdated and you're going to need some kind of new system to run the solar system. But the weirdest thing to me, and if I had this empirical data, I would say it, but the truth is the buyer's response to having a solar system on the home is kind of like, oh, that's nice, but I'm not going to pay more money just because it's already there, but I am going to insist that it's fully paid for out of the closing. So you should think twice before you do those systems. I think in certain climates, they are great. Like we have one on a house that we own out in the desert in California. And yeah, those electric bills can be over $800, $900 a month if you don't have solar. But around here, it's pretty stable. It's not necessary. So that's part of what we do. And if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call at 719-301-3900. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Barb has the buyer's team and the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. So if you can't remember the phone number, go to barbhasthebuyers.com and we'll be sure to take care of it. Richard?
We're talking about how a home seller knows their home is sold, whether they decide on a cash offer or a traditional sales process. Barb, tell us about how homes are sold with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty.
Well, Richard, once you agree to let us handle the sale, we have to have a written agreement to do that. And effective this month, even buyers have to have a written agreement just to look at homes. So don't be surprised by that, but do read what's being put in front of you because sometimes they use different forms for that. And we'll sit down, we'll go over everything that we do to get homes sold, and you get to choose. Do you take a cash offer and not worry about it? Or do you go the traditional sales route and see what the open market will get you? And a lot of people worry, am I going to have to sign a long-term agreement? Am I committed to that agent for 6 months or whatever? We don't do that. We want 5-star reviews. We want happy customers. So we provide you with systems and checklists all along the way of the process. So there's no surprises that happen. However, some people will some agents will hold you to agreements and they will require that you kind of exhaust that contract before you make a change. Now, if they're not behaving and not doing what they said they could do, you could terminate for cause. We also offer what's called a certified pre-owned home program. That takes away some of the landmines in the sales process. What I mean by that is, you put your house on the market, you got it all pretty ready to go. A buyer says, yes, I love it. I want to make an offer. Boom, they make an offer. You go under contract. Everybody's happy. And then stuff happens. Guess what happens? The buyer does the inspection. They ask for a new sewer line. They ask for a new roof. They ask for fries with that too. Sometimes they ask for upgrades. And it kind of derails the whole plan, or it could derail the whole plan. And oh, yeah, guess what? If the seller wants to move forward, they got to reach in their pocket and pay for it. That's a problem. Sellers want certainty. They want to know that they're going to pass their inspection. So that's part of what our pre-owned home program actually does for home sellers. And if you are thinking of making a move and you would like to find out what we do to get your home sold for top dollar, and take a look at least 5 or 6 cash offers on the first time that we meet, give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, host of the program and owner proprietor of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And if you're thinking of making a move, call Barb 719-301-3900 or go ahead and visit barbhasthebuyers.com. A short break. When we come back, we'll be talking about how do you choose the very best real estate agent, plus Barb's hot new listings. You want to make sure to hear those. And you got that little, of course you did. Why would I even ask? You
I
didn't
didn't-
ask the thing.
I didn't follow the script at all. Sorry.
It's that's fine. I mean, I just think that the test is not whether you follow the script. The test is, so is it good radio? And sounds good to me.
Thanks.
It's,
Mine's whether or not she gave valuable information, which I feel like she did.
yeah. You know what? Hey, I'm going to step out for just a second.
All
I've
right.
got some stuff going on with my family.
Mhm.
More than a minute.
Just okay. Cynthia. All right. Are the bathrooms closed? Yeah, this bathroom is flooding. Okay. All right. I have to do a quickie.
You got bathroom flooding over there?
Yeah. Girls' bathroom. And they're like, you're using too much toilet paper. I'm like, no, the plumbing sucks.
How
And if you
about you
didn't give
clean
us,
out the pipes?
yeah, if you didn't give us cardboard for toilet paper, we wouldn't use so much. Sorry. Did I say that?
You're fine. I tell people all the time, I work in radio. There's not much I haven't heard.
I'm sure. So I got to leave early today. So if we could bang it out, that's fine. Do you want me to
Yes.
do my part and then he can record?
What's that?
You want me to start recording and then he can record his segments over the top, or does that mess you up?
Um, it's not very easy to do it that way.
Okay, never mind.
And we only have one more segment, so um let me see if I can go grab him real quick.
That's all right. I'll go use the restroom. I'll go find one that works. Right back. So do we have to go downstairs? I'm back.
Okay. And here we go. Whoops. Let me get my clock over here. My God, I have so many apps here that it's practically crazy. It's not practically crazy. Okay.
It's not practical at all.
Yeah, at all. All right. I got a new clock. I got a script. I'm good to go. How about you, Barb? I know you've got a 1 o'clock.
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Count us down in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with the host of the program, Barb Schlinker, your home sold guaranteed realty. Now, Barb, most people choose agents that they know, like a friend, and don't really have a system for selecting the best agent to handle one of their largest assets in their entire life. So, what are some ways a home seller can determine how to choose a real estate agent to sell their home? The biggest investment, how do they go about it?
Well, Richard, I would say a majority of people go to somebody that they know, or somebody they are referred to, or somebody that they worked with before. Oh, he was nice, she was nice, let's do that. Or he's a friend, or he'd never forgive me if I don't, list my house with him, whatever. But at the end of the day, the market has definitely changed. Right now, we're leaning towards a buyer's market, in my view, and you need somebody that really knows how to get it sold. I mean, everybody wants the most money for their house, but the seller has to decide who is going to be the agent that does that and how is it going to get done. Right now, we have 3,272 available homes on the market in 3 counties around the Pikes Peak region. That's up by 31.2% since a year ago, with the rates being essentially the same. So there's more supply and there's almost 10% less sales, right? Some of it has to do with more inventory. Some of it has to do with the lack of affordability. But a home seller really needs to have an experienced agent to get this done. And the problem is most people just assume that any agent that they talk to has the depth of expertise, experience, and sales volume in order to give them good advice about how to position the home to get the most money when they sell it. And unfortunately, 81% of the 5,400 agents in the Pikes Peak region sell 3 or less homes a year. In fact, if you look across the stats of all these big box brokerages around town, the average number of sales are less than 4 for a year, right? That's a top producer. The problem is, if they don't have the sales volume, they don't know what's going on in the market, and they might, tell the seller something like, oh, I can get you just as much as Mr. and Mrs. Jones got down the street, 2 months ago, that had a bigger house with great views, not really understanding that there's a reason why that one sold for more, right? So I think that there's just a severe, and it saddens me, lack of expertise in general out there. And we still, to this day, get bidding wars all the time if the sellers take our advice, price it what I call very realistically versus.
We froze. We froze.
Let me stop my clock here.
Okay.
I don't think that's ever happened before, has it?
Only once, and it came back.
And
So we are frozen.
okay.
Uh,
It says my internet's unstable.
Well, that's better than you being unstable. We always worry about that,
I
Barb.
have those days too.
Oh, here we go.
It started off that way today. I had a hissy fit about dirt under my carpet. So anyway.
See, that's what I'm saying. You go through all this stressful stuff, and then you come do this, and there's no way anybody would even know that you've gone through any of that. So
We
all
look,
right,
we look stable now.
yes, you look
Okay.
stable now. You want to just pick it up where you were at?
Yeah. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Most home sellers make the huge mistake of maybe just picking the agent that they know. They don't interview agents. They hire the first person that walks in the door. They hire them with no predetermined method of actually selecting an agent. And then months later, after they've decided, oh, they were nice, they sold me the house, they gave me a discount, that is not working, guess what? You know, now they're looking for some real help. And the hard facts are that 87% of real estate agents don't make it past their 5th year. If they're only selling the best ones, 3 or 4 homes a year, you can't even make a living on that. So I think that a lot of people won't go back to the last real estate agent for various reasons. They say they will, but they don't end up doing it. And really, people don't sell homes very often. When you're buying a home, even though it is one of your largest assets, it's a little less challenging as far as a real estate project than it is for selling. But I'd say both are pretty darn important. I just talked to a home seller last week that went out of state and picked it sounds to me like a low experienced agent or maybe a transactional agent because, you know, it's a high end sale. He promised him one thing, did another, and then he didn't listen to what his client was asking him to do. And it ended up costing him the house, and somebody else got the house and they were not happy. So, it's okay to fire somebody if it's not working. I'm giving you permission right here and right now. You don't have to worry about what you signed. If they are not performing according to, you want me to say that again, DJ? I was thinking out loud with the wheel spinning. If the agent is not performing according to what they promised, either verbally or in writing, you have a right to let them go and don't feel bad about it. So if you are thinking of making a move and you'd like to interview us, I would love it. You know, give us a chance because we're going to do the best we can to get you the most money. And it's very sad to me, but the way the system has been set up, most agents, they go, maybe they spend the money on professional photos. They've gotten better about it, but there's still people that are out there taking iPhone photos of their high-end listings, which I think is totally malpractice. But in general, the agents do what I call post and hope. They get pictures of the listing, they stick the pictures in the MLS, and they hope a lot that somebody else brings them a buyer, and they don't have any buyers. We have buyers. We have almost 28,000 buyers just on my little website. Plus, I could find 700 that are a high match for your home. And we have almost 70 high net worth cash buyers that'll make a decent offer on your home. So we have a free report that we're offering you. It's called the Free Agent Selection Guide. And what you're going to get actually is 3 different items about picking an agent. And I've had my clients use this on me. So they've downloaded my reports and then they interrogate me that way. And I love it. I'm like, this is great. But anyway, this free agent selection guide basically puts criteria. You can actually write down, oh, what do I think of this? What do I think of that? The common mistakes. And, you know, I hear about mistakes all the time. I just met with a seller just last weekend that had asked another agent to help them sell their home. And they had a timeline. They had a strict timeline on when they wanted to move. She completely blew them off. The time passed by, and now the school has started. It's creating a problem for them. You know, the kids are going to get reoriented back in school, and it's just that kind of thing should never happen. It's hard enough to get business in real estate with 5,400 competing real estate agents. So it's just disappointing to me that somebody would actually neglect a client like that and burn their goals, which is really what happened. So if you're thinking of making a move, give us a call, 719-301-3900. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Barb has the buyers, and the host of the show, Your Real Estate Voice. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. You can reach her at 719-301-3900. And we're talking about why you need a well-qualified real estate agent when you're selling your home. Barb, what are some other reasons that people selling their homes need to choose a great agent?
Hold on. Brought my phone in here. Sorry.
Yes, sir.
It's perfectly fine.
Yeah, I was going to say 0 problems here from Mission Control.
Okay. You asked me the question. Now it's time for me to talk. Three.
Well, I'll just give you the question again. That way it'll feel natural. The end of the question. Barb, what are some other reasons that people selling their homes need to choose a great agent?
Well, Richard, I hate to say this, but the average agent spends $129 or less on marketing. Now, think about it. Each agent is considered to be their own individual business. So most individual businesses, unless they're really lucky, they have a marketing budget, they have a staff budget, they have all kinds of budgets, and they have to invest in their business to get business. But agents don't do that. They just think that they can, pester everybody they know and hope that business drops in their lap like sprinkle dust in the sky, right? Sometimes that works, but you can only go so far with it. And then they have to invest on the client's home. They're getting ready to sell it. The seller doesn't know how to do this. They don't know what kind of marketing is going to attract the right buyer for their home. And the agent should know that. And, Richard, it saddens me, but the normal process when you are selling a home and showing a home is if you go into an occupied home with a buyer, you leave a business card. Do you know what? Most of them don't do that anymore. I don't know why. It's like business, you can get 1,000 business cards for $49 from Vistaprint. I don't get why they're in somebody's home showing the home. They can't leave a card to indicate that they were there. Because the sellers are like, well, were they there? Oh, I think I can tell maybe by one light was turned on or off or whatever. Or most of the time, unfortunately, they can tell because lights are left on and doors are left unlocked. I hear that complaint all the time. So it's just not professional. It's like they don't care, but it's a privilege for them to be in somebody's house and they're responsible for this asset while they're in there at the time to protect it from burglary or, to take care of it. And they don't even leave a card, which I think is just unacceptable. I put it in my showing instructions, every single one, leave a card. Do they do it? Nope, they don't. Do they lock the doors? Nope, they don't. I can't get them to do it. And then when you confront them with it, it wasn't me. I didn't do it. Maybe it was the buyer, whatever. So because the agents don't sell a lot of homes, they probably really weren't trained on what's professional and what's not. And, we sell hundreds of homes a year, and our goal is to help home sellers get the most money and to make sure that the experience goes well. But there are some agents that can really derail the experience by some of the crazy stuff they do, just like that. So you want to make sure you have somebody that has your back in the sales process. And marketing is absolutely critical. If you don't get high quality photos of your home will sit on the market. Buyers won't pick it to look at it because at the end of the day, what the buyers want is the best home in their price range. And they are making that decision in less than 57 seconds by looking at that house online. They can see all the sales around it. They know if it's overpriced. They can see a better deal down the street if it's there. So don't think they're ignorant and looking at it uniquely. Little things can make a house look unattractive. Like I have a pet peeve about dish towels hanging from the stove because it just doesn't look pretty. Or when they take pictures of spaces that really don't deserve pictures. Like here's a picture of a huge pantry. That's a benefit. The pantry is a benefit, but it is so full of stuff. It's just not attractive. I would probably just make a comment on that, or I'd tell the seller to clear that baby out, or I'd have my virtual assistants electronically clear it out so it looks good. You want to attract buyers, not repel buyers. And, according to a recent study by the National Association of Realtors, most buyers are starting their search online. So you have to make sure your internet presence online is fantastic. And then we've talked about pricing a lot today, but at the end of the day, if it's not priced right, it's not going to sell. And it's just that simple. So if you'd like to download our free report, the free agent selection guide that includes the 9 different factors and then the common mistakes made in selecting an agent, go to barbhasthebuyers.com, click on the green button. You can download it for free or give us a call at 719-301-3900. Richard?
Now, Barb, your favorite part of the show, you've got some hot new listings. Tell us about them.
I do. I have a gorgeous patio home on Regiment Court right there, close to Chapel Hills Mall in Briargate. Great location. Fabulous home out on Powers Road with 35 acres and a barn, really nice property. A great townhome in Briargate on Smoke Tree. A fabulous two-story with a finished basement. Just lowered the price to $445 on Crandall, down Powers Way. A gorgeous hobby farm on a Cowie Way, and coming this week, a remodeled home on 2850 North Shelton. This gorgeous property has spectacular views. And then I have a fabulous home out on Chalet Lane at the edge of Black Forest, priced in the upper eights with a huge RV garage and a beautiful piece of land with a well up in Florissant on Mountain Estates Road. That's just a great building site in a great neighborhood, and more to come. And you know what? I also have some coming soon listings, some off-market listings that might represent the best deal for buyers. So give us a call if you're looking for properties that you can't find on the internet. We can help you with that. Richard?
You've been listening to Your Real Estate Voice. It airs every Saturday. And if you're thinking of making a move, call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. And remember, you can see replays of the show on Barb's YouTube channel, Barb Schlinker, or listen to a podcast on all of the popular podcast platforms, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, many, many others. Thanks for listening today. And to reach out to Barb, again, 719-301-3900. Have a great week. Barb, you have a great week as well.
Thank you, Richard. You too.